back to another episode of Sharks Weekly, your inside look at Hawaii Pacific University athletics, right here on Hawaii Sports Radio 95.1 FM and AM 760. I'm your host, Bailey Furman, and we are live from HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSC Hawaii, bringing you everything you need to know about your Sharks. And today we're diving into HPU men's soccer. This team has had its successes and challenges, but if there's one thing we know, it's that they battle. We're going to break down the challenges they've faced, what they've learned this season, and what's next as they start building towards next year. We've got a stacked lineup today, starting with HPU men's soccer head coach Chris Fisher, the longest tenured coach in program history and the winningest coach in this program has ever had. We've also got two players in the house. Goalkeeper Kevin Harr, who has international experience, competing at the U20 World Cup and Asia Cup. And striker Kelly Takara, a local product from Aiea, Hawaii, who knows exactly what it means to represent the 808 at the collegiate level. But before we get into that, gotta give a quick shout out to our in-studio producer, Paul Brecht, making sure everything runs smoothly.
How's it going, guys? Really excited for the show today and excited to talk some HPU soccer.
And hey, don't forget, we want to hear from you. Text in your questions to 808-888-5481. We'll get to as many as we can throughout the show. Coach Fisher, let's start with you. You've been leading this program for 16 years, coming on 16 years, making you the winningest coach in HPU men's history. What's kept you at HPU, and what's so special about coaching this team?
Thank you. I guess winning comes with the tenure that I've had. It kind of goes hand in hand. So what has kept me here is, I think, the love of Hawaii. I came here originally to play on a team called the Hawaii Tsunami back in the day, and I just fell in love with the place. And then I fell in love with a Hawaiian lady. And then we had some kids, and then my kids have grown up kind of the entirety of the time that I've been with HPU. So that's, that it's just a special place in my heart right now because of that. And just the guys that I get to work with on a daily basis, incredible people like yourself in the university. So, what better place to be? It's being in the game that I love in a beautiful place. It doesn't get much better than this.
What got you into soccer in the first place, Coach?
I grew up in the Bay Area in a town called Pleasanton. I'm show my age, but back in the 70s, soccer in the United States was not very big. But the town I grew up in, Pleasanton, was soccer city. It was mad for soccer, and I just happened to live in that town. And then just fell in love with the game. Took it very seriously. Went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, played, and then I stayed in the game as long as I could. So,
gotcha.
That's that.
Lifer in the sport, we'll call you.
And let's talk about the Pac West a little bit. It's grown a lot this year, adding 3 new teams, Jessup coming in, Vanguard coming in, also Menlo. How has that changed your recruiting process with it being more competitive each year?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in this league a long time, and teams come and go. We've had Cal Baptist, Grand Canyon that were in our conference, and now they're big D1 programs with Dixie State. And then now, Menlo came in this past year. Westmont's been in for 2 years, and then Westmont actually won our conference title last year. So these teams that are coming in are pushing everybody. I try to recruit the most talented players that are going to fit into our culture over here to make us as competitive as we can be. That doesn't change so much. I think with these new teams coming in to our conference, there's more. They're recruiting. They're trying to recruit a lot of the same players as well, and so we're just trying to get an edge. I mean, we're one of the 3 schools in Hawaii so that kind of helps out, is getting some of those California kids come over here. But as far as how we recruit and the type of player, we're still trying to get the best that we can that's going to fit in over here and make us as competitive as we possibly can.
And let's bring the guys in. You got 2, one from Aiea and one from Germany, right? So Kevin, you've had a crazy career already. Florida International, Flagger, and U20 World Cup, Asia Cup. You've been everywhere basically. How has those experiences shaped your approach to coming to HPU and the game?
So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. Um, so I guess like just from the history, I feel like you can tell I've been like to a lot of different places, in different areas, and I think the main thing that I'm taking away is like adaptability in a sense, because you play with like different cultures, different people, different languages, even on like different levels of like professionality or like infrastructure, and you just like adapt like throughout time, through those like changes, and trying to make the best out of it, like of every adversity that comes. I think.
And as a goalkeeper, right, you see the whole field. How do you communicate with your team leading from the back?
Screams at him.
Yeah, basically. That's what I do most of the time, actually. No, because as a goalkeeper, most of the times you get like couple of actions like in the game, and a lot of those times, the rest of the time you are basically just out of the game in a sense. So as a goalkeeper, you always try to keep yourself in the game, and that is like through communicating with the team. Also like trying to help the most while you're not really participating, right? You're not running like the other guys. You have the air, you can talk to the other guys. You see the whole field, just as you mentioned. And I also think, and maybe that's just me like trying to convince myself, but I think it's very important as a goalkeeper to be confident in a sense, just so like I think it reflects on your team, in those like certain areas, or like when you talk to them, and it reflects to your team and how they then like play in a sense. Because if they know, oh, we got like a strong back and we're fine, you just play differently, you defend differently, and yeah.
And Kevin, you had said you played goalkeeper before, right? Moving to striker, basically your job is to score the goals. How has that been? How has that transition been, going from goalkeeper now playing striker in college?
Well, so I started playing keeper when I was young, and I still trained on the field, right? But I slowly moved away from it. I felt like I wanted to do bigger and better things and more in the action, right? And I was lucky enough to be recruited to HPU. I mean, I love it a lot more on the field. I'm constantly thinking, constantly trying to score, constantly trying to beat the person that's the opposite side of me. So, I mean, playing striker, I've found like a passion for that I really love. It's exciting, and I'm always have to stay on my toes. Yeah.
And you're a local guy from Aiea. How does it feel playing for HPU and repping Hawaii at this level?
I mean, at first, I wanted to go away. I wanted to get away from home. But once I joined HPU and I spent time here, I've come to really love it and enjoy it. A lot of the guys that come in internationally go to the beach once a day, twice a day, you know. And I haven't really done that because I grew up here. I took advantage of it, and it's really made me have a different perspective on where I've grown up and the things that I've overlooked. So playing here, playing this sport, I've really loved it, and coming to HBU, and it's nice having my family and friends be able to come watch a game and see them in the stands cheering me on. So that part's really nice, and I've always wanted to play in the stadium growing up, and now I get to every single game, so it's always a dream come true.
Right, it's a beautiful stadium, right? Yes. So how do you help these international guys that come in? How do you guys bridge that?
First thing I do is tell them where to go eat. Yeah. I mean, Rainbow Drive-In and all Loco Moco and getting all that stuff, right? The poke, like Ululani shave ice, like those stuff I love to eat. So I think the first thing I do to bond with them is telling them where to eat and where to get some local food, you know?
Thank you. We're getting a cue to go to our first break. Hawaii Pacific University Athletics is sponsored by Island Insurance. Island Insurance, local experts protecting local people. We'll be right back with more Sharks Weekly on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Sharks Weekly. We're broadcasting live from HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSD Hawaii. We're still rolling with HPU men's soccer, Coach Fisher, Kevin Harr, and Kelly Takara. Coach, team chemistry is huge at the college level, and HPU has one of the most diverse rosters in the Pac West. How does that impact team style and play and overall dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just talking about, first of all, it's just great to have on this island guys from all over the world come together, and the local guys like Kelly sharing the island with the rest of them. And it also creates a lot of interesting conversations. We learn from each other, which is great. When it comes to the chemistry and on the field, we set our standards as a group. We set our standards that meet our team's expectation, and those standards are needed to be met by everybody on the team. And so it doesn't matter where you came from or how good you are or how not good you are. Those are the standards that we set, and so that's what everybody has to adhere to.
Standards and maybe some goals. Could you share some of those goals that you set for them, or do they set themselves and you guys share it together as a team?
These guys set the goals. If you guys want to expand on what our goals are, what our expectations are, what we're doing right now at practice.
So let's start with you, Kelly.
I would say our goals first off is to win the conference, right?
Of course.
Flat out.
Yeah.
Just we want to win the conference. But to do that, we have to set miniature goals, right? Everyday goals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the first one is everyone show up 15 to 30 minutes before practice. Everyone should be stretching, have the boots on, everything like that before practice gets started. So that's a mini goal, right? Then going into practice, we want everyone competing, everyone at their best possible level, right? So drinking water, eating the right foods, that kind of thing. So I think overall it's more so the aspect of not really the playing soccer part, but it's more so the outside stuff, that's having responsibility and taking care of your body and showing up on time and just being very responsible, that then carries over onto the soccer field.
Yeah. And I'm sure for the freshmen that come in, that can be kind of challenging sometimes. You being a sophomore, going to be a junior, right? And Kevin, you being a graduate student next year, how do you guys help those freshmen that are coming in kind of transition into college?
I think, like, to add on, like, the part with the goals, it's all about, like, having a goal to set an environment where all people coming in, no matter if a freshman or a transfer grad student, they come in and, like, can just tell the environment, the standards that were set, and then it's honestly more likely on them to, like, adapt and meet those standards, because obviously if you join a team, you want to be part of the team, and to be part of a team, you have to adapt and meet the standards of that team. But obviously, especially like with freshmen, like the older guys like me or a local guy like Kelly will always be there to like guide them in a sense, I think, just to like let them know, hey, this maybe you could have done differently, or don't show up on time. Just like let them know, and probably also give them a little slack, I would say, at start with a freshman. But you want to see progress, I think.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I guess this is a question for both you guys. What is something that your team does off the field that brings you all together, whether it's some kind of team bonding or going to the beach or maybe even picking weeds at YPO Soccer Stadium?
Yeah, so, I mean, we do some community service and help out at YPO and picking the weeds and stuff like that. But we do kind of go on some hikes once in a while. We do try and go eat together and just spend time together. So I think that's one of the big parts, is people coming from all over the world. You really have to try and mesh and be one as a team. And it's hard because you have different cultures, different mindsets. But definitely going to the beach, hanging out, maybe after games or before games, just talking to each other and learning our life experiences and trying to be on the same page.
We used to have a player, McConna, a couple of years ago that would take the guys spearfishing that would scare the heck out of me. So I'm glad none of these guys do that.
And for you, Kevin, what is one of the big goals that you're working on off season? You guys are in the off season. Any games scheduled or?
Yeah, of course we have games scheduled. Those are like towards the end of the off-season part of the spring.
February 22nd, we got a game with Paradise.
Oh,
just
okay,
confirmed.
great, great. Confirmed
Breaking
live
news.
on radio. No, yeah, I think like how I talked about it, like setting standards and like creating an environment for the team. I think that's like the biggest goal for the off season. I think me personally, correct me if I'm wrong, coach, but I think it's less about like the results in the spring. It's more like building up something that you can continue on in the fall, and just continue working on it.
Yeah, we're just trying to build a mindset right now, and I think sometimes we struggled with believing in ourselves this past season, and so that's a big thing, that getting everybody on the same page and buying in and trusting the process.
So when it comes to kind of figuring out the baseline, right? You're in the off season, you're trying to put together those things. Is it as simple as just, making sure guys connect passes, as simple as that? You have great. What does that improvement look like so that you have that baseline you're comfortable with once you get into the fall?
Yeah, I think we've said it. I think the word standard has been brought up a lot of times, and so we're just trying to create that line and just come out and compete, be competitive every single day, and make each other as good as we can. And it's not only on the soccer field. I think we want it to be a mindset of whatever any of these guys get into is how hard can you work to reach the potential that you have in everything that we do.
Of course, that's a great standard to have for you and your team. I guess the next question I have is, who's the biggest leader on your guys' team right now?
I would say we want everyone to try and be a leader, right? Everyone to try and take that responsibility to lead and push one another. I would say the three that I would say are the biggest leader right now is Dylan, Dennis, and Kevin here. They are the oldest. They have been in the college system for a while, which does come with age and like wisdom of how to do things and how things should be ran. So I would say those are our biggest leaders, that are like our focal points, right? But we want everyone to be a leader. So it's not just all the responsibilities on them. Everyone has to take responsibility and lead the team. But those are the faces of our team as of right now.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit. I saw you guys playing, and I saw you really hype your team up, especially when you're taking those shots and those goals. It was great watching you guys, and it's great watching you play from the back and just getting hyped when you get those saves. So what was going on when you were getting those saves in your mind, your mindset?
Like right exact in the moment, or like afterwards, like after the game? Because it's very different.
I want to hear both.
So I feel like right in the game, you obviously like personally get hyped and you like try to show it to your team. But in the moment, like in the game, it's also still like, okay, you're still trying to like stay locked in, because usually after you save, there's a corner kick right after, or a corner kick right after, or like the ball is like still in game, so you're trying to like stay focused while internally being like very hyped about it. And then like a couple seconds later, you already think about like, okay, that's like basically my job, did my job, and now focus again on the game. And I think afterwards, then you're always like, as a player, at least me personally, trying to like reflect about your game, like the things that you did good. But I think it's also like as important to think about the things that you did good that game. I'm trying to like always equal it out, like in my mind, for like 3 things bad, 3 things good that I did, and then to like work on them or like embrace them. And those type of saves are obviously then coming up in my mind, and I'm like proud, especially like when the results come with it, and like we win, and I know like, oh, because of that save, like I actually contributed something to like the team and like helped them win the game.
I think it's interesting that these two positions, that their mentality is, a goalkeeper is obviously incredibly important to our team, but he can play an awesome game for the entire time and just make one mistake and the blame's on him, whereas Kelly, as a striker, can play terrible the entire game and score 1 goal, and he's the hero. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've had those games where just everything isn't falling in line, right? but you get that one opportunity to put it away and help your team, and then you feel like $1,000,000, right? But it definitely is opposite sides where the goalkeeper can play amazing, and then just one mistake, kind of just the game falls apart. Whereas the striker or someone else like a winger or center mid just is not doing good at all, but is able to just have one good moment and really change the game.
And you had some big goals this year. What was going through your mind before and after those goals?
I would say before, it's just being goal hungry.
Yeah.
Right? I just want to score as much as possible. And while we're playing, it's thinking about whether I should shoot the ball or someone else has a better opportunity to score than me. Which now I'm kind of trying to changing my mindset to taking responsibility and shooting the ball more myself. After, I kind of reflect on if I could have put it in the corner better, or how I hit it on my foot, right? If I locked my ankle, if my plant foot was facing in a certain direction. Just the little things is kind of, to me, what matters. It's really huge. Whether or not I opened my hips so I could find the corner, that's that kind of stuff I'm kind of reflecting on.
Right, especially stepping into that junior year, right? You got to take more of a leadership role. Is there anything that both of you guys are excited for next year?
The season. I'm really, really excited for the season because obviously last semester was my first semester here, and like even throughout that like season, seeing the progress and where it's going, and like throughout the games, they got better and better, and then like it's a short period of time this season, and then it was like immediately over after 3 months, and it's like, oh, we just got like rolling. We want to like continue in a sense. So right now it's a period of time where you literally just get like excited.
And you guys definitely, I definitely saw the energy towards the end of season. I'm getting a cue to take a commercial break. Hawaii Pacific University Athletics is sponsored by Westpac Wealth Partners, assisting our clients in every aspect of their financial lives. We'll be right back after a break on Sharks Weekly with more insight on HPU men's soccer.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Sharks Weekly on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. We're back with Coach Chris Fisher, Kevin Harr, and Kelly Takara. So, Coach, what's the biggest takeaway from this past season, and how do you build on that moving forward?
Yeah, this last season, I mentioned earlier, is that I think we played really good soccer. We just didn't have the belief for the entire game, and then one thing would go wrong, and then we would our momentum would be killed, and that belief would be gone. And so I think that we've been building to, our habits and everything are going to get us over that hump. Starting every game we improved, and then now this spring we're taking it from there and bringing in a mindset to where we're gonna be someone that teams are gonna fear, hopefully.
Tactically, Coach, when it comes to the field, how do you want HPU to kind of be thought of, right? That goes into those standards, that baseline that you're trying to build. What's the type of attack? What's the type of defense? And without obviously specifics, but what's the type of mindset that you want other people to look at your team having night in, night out, day in, day out?
Yeah, we want to be a high energy team. We want to press high and force teams into mistakes. Hopefully they play out of the back and we can win the ball up high and score goals a lot quicker from there. When we're not successful to be able to press, can we get back really quickly and defend and stop the other team from scoring, win the ball back and then counter on them and score. Kevin, as a goalkeeper, is really good with his feet, so we're working on playing out of the back, on drawing, we call it a track to progress, so we're trying to bring teams in and be able to build around them very quickly and get the goal quickly. So I think I used to be a little bit more of a possession-based coach, but I think we want to score goals now as quickly as we can.
And kind of conversely for the players, is that like, how do you like playing in that style? How do you like leading it from the back line, Kevin? And then Kelly, for you at the front of it, how do you like being there and that high energy, that press high, and then being able to, of course, play through the back as well?
I had that talk with coach after the season, where like thoughts came up of like how to progress like into next season, and when he mentioned like, oh, I'll probably be like more a bigger part like in the build-up play and stuff, I got excited because I love to have the ball. I love to be part of the game. I know it's like one of my strengths. I know that's a way I can help the team. So I'm really excited with like that role of like having a bigger part in the build-up play. And in general, when it comes to the tactics, like the more direct way that we're like trying to get to, I feel like fits our players and like our play style a lot.
Yeah, and for me up top, I love it because it's probably 10 times easier to score, right? When the other team is a lot bigger in their possession, in their shape, because they want to spread the field. And when we're pressing and we win the ball, they're all spread out. And now we have a lot more time and space to drive forward and take shots, instead of the other way where they would all be dropped in and be very tight and closed in, right? So it's a lot harder to get through that. So for me, the running, I mean, it's all right? No one likes running.
Of course.
But there's a lot more reward to it, because when you press, when you run, then you win the ball, you have a lot more time and space to go and shoot and finish because they're so spread out.
So going off of that, Coach, what does your recruiting look like for next season? Any big players you're bringing in? Anyone that you're excited about?
Yeah, Coach Joshua came in and led him. He really wanted to spearhead our recruiting efforts, and the guy is on the phone 24 hours a day. We've been doing real well. And so, we talked about, we got a kid, Alex Arguijo, that is a local product that went to Spain for a couple of years, and he came home 6'4", 5 center back that we have already training with us right now. We have Dylan and Jackson that are here already this spring, that are new players that are bringing a lot of energy. As far as next year, we've probably signed 8 players so far. Every one of them are high quality and going to bring a lot to this team. So we're super excited with what we have, and then a couple of players that we're just waiting for that final yes, that are going to complete the roster for 25, and I think we're all really excited with the potential that we have.
So going off that, what is one game that you guys, asking Kevin and Kelly, what is one game that you guys are excited to play next season?
It's a good question. Yeah.
I know Chaminade, when you guys play Chaminade, it's always high intensity.
I think like usually the games like between like the other Hawaiian teams are the games that you as HPU definitely need to win, because if you don't win the conference, you at least want to be the best on the island. So those games I think have like a little different like environment to them, a different like vibe, and those are usually like really, really fun and exciting, with the most people coming to the games too.
What about you, Kelly? I'm sure you have a lot of friends on the other teams, right?
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off Kevin is, playing Chaminade and Hilo, there's a lot of people that I know and a lot of family and friends that do come out. It's a lot more crowded because both teams are local, right? So that environment is fun. I mean, there's people I work with and coach with that playing on the other team. So the kids we coach all come and watch and are screaming and yelling, and it's really fun to play in that environment. For me, I would say the most important, or the one I'm looking forward to the most, is probably the first game, right? I mean, that's the one that we're training for all spring, the one that we're trying to get everything right and everything perfect so that when we play that game, everything falls into place. So for me, that's the one I'm looking forward to most, just being able to play a game and having a crowd and being really excited for it.
And you guys usually do bring in a pretty good crowd. You have kids screaming with signs. It's a great atmosphere out in YPO. Kelly, what's something that you personally want to improve on before next season?
I've been thinking about that over this break that we've had, and I've only recently thought of it, but it isn't my shooting or my passing or my dribbling, but for me, it's really my being aware of my spatial awareness, like head checking where the defenders are. And I feel like if I improve on that, then that will give me more time to shoot, more time to pass, better ideas of what I can and can't do. So really being able to check my shoulders and have more of a spatial awareness so I have a better idea what to do when the ball gets to me, and just be able to score more goals.
Is that difficult at all when it's the off season, right? That sounds almost like a task that's easier to learn in game with live experiences. How do you go about improving upon that as you go through training during the off season?
I mean, it is easier to, when you're playing games, to be doing that stuff because there's more people around you. But there is drills that I can do, one-on-one stuff where I check my shoulders and look at a color cone and then call it out, things like that. Even at training in the mornings with HPU, just checking to the ball, checking my shoulder where the guy who's marking me, if he's on my right side or my left side, so I can turn that direction, right? So, I mean, it is a lot easier to learn during the games, but there is ways that you can go about it and get better at it.
Gotcha.
And for you, Kevin, as a goalkeeper, what's the next step in your development? And I guess the same question that I just asked Kelly. What are you looking to improve on before next season?
I think going into my last year, it changes a little bit, like, of your perspective on what you want to improve on and stuff, because this is going to be my last year. It's not like, I'm going to use that fall throughout the games to, like, get better in those things, because after that there's nothing really after that most of the times. So for me, it's really just like using that time now in the spring, and then to, like, have the best season that I can possibly have in the fall, to, like, finish, like, my college soccer career the best I can with the most shutouts that I can have, all those things, because this is a final season, so you just want to be the best out of it.
What are you looking to do after season?
That's a great question.
Kevin and I are going to go and eat some good food. That's what we're going to do.
We're definitely going to eat a lot of food. I would love to just stay here, like, on Hawaii. I really, like, started loving it, and I think it's very easy to love it. But I would love to, like, stay here, stay active, like, in the community, even, like, with HPU maybe, and the soccer program, or, like, the soccer community in general on Hawaii. I would love to stay here and, like, keep on working on that.
Speaking of community engagements, Kelly, you had talked about you coach for the Bulls, right? How has that been, and how has that kind of developing these younger kids?
So I do coach for the Honolulu Bulls, and it's nice. It gives a different perspective, right? Because at one point I was that kid, and I didn't realize how much torment I was putting my coach in, right? But it's kind of helping me understand the game a little bit better, seeing it from the coach's perspective. And the thing I probably picked up the most out of it is how to explain things, right? Because I feel like I've, as a coach, said it the right way, but the kids will have a million different ways of doing it, and I have to really break it down. So, I mean, that's the part that I think I've taken from it most. What's really nice is you get to see the kids' development, right? As they grow up, they grow, they're doing good. I ask them about school every day, like that kind of things. And especially in soccer, at one point they couldn't cross a ball in the air, but now they can, right? So it's nice to know that I'm helping them grow as soccer players, but not only soccer players, as humans too.
Yeah,
right?
It's a great feeling.
Right.
Coach, does that ring true to your heart at all? You hear that and then make your heart happy, or at least make you chuckle?
Oh, it does, absolutely. We were sharing earlier that Kelly was one of my players back in the day. I mean, he was the goalkeeper. We went to Japan, we went to ODP, and just to see I'm actually proud of him just listening to him talk right now. So, yeah, absolutely, and it's great that they can experience that same thing.
And then I do want to, I know we got to take a break here in a second, but we did get a text question in, and it's for Kevin, so, be ready. I am interpreting it in two different ways. I'll let you answer it however you see fit. Question is, who has the hardest shot on the team to defend? Whether that be velocity or most difficult to stop, who, in your opinion, on the team has the most difficult shot to stop?
Oh, interesting question. I would love to know from who it is, but
there's one right answer to this.
I mean, there is obviously one right answer, and I don't think I can mention a different name than Kelly right now.
So, thank you.
The best shot ever that I experienced in my life.
Okay, so if Kelly wasn't here,
Who's second? Let's ask that. Who's second? Who's behind Kelly? Who's fighting for that top spot?
Who's after Kelly?
Coach Graham might have something to say.
If you would count Coach Graham in, then him probably, yeah. I think after a couple of shots, then he might have to like take a break. I don't know. Who has a really like hard shot, strong shot? I would say maybe like Dylan or Dennis, like the older guys. They have like the power in it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Good to know. It's just curious. And of course, you guys can always send in a text question at 808-888-5481. That's 808-888-5481. And get a question in for our guys before we close things out here.
and we're about to take our last break for the radio show. Hawaii Pacific University is sponsored by Aiea, Hawaii's only hyper bowling center. Aiea, a new experience and environment. Stick with us. We've got one last segment coming up on Sharks Weekly.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
All right, Sharks fans, welcome back to Sharks Weekly for our final segment. Live from HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSD Hawaii. We have Coach Chris Fisher, Kelly Takara, and Kevin Harr. You guys doing anything fun this weekend? It's homecoming week. We got basketball and some fun events going on at the Shark Tank.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to go watch some basketball, right? And I love it. I have some friends on the team, and it's always fun to go watch them out. Hopefully they beat the other team, right? There's also high school boys state championships going along on that time, so I have a couple buddies that I might go support at that Friday, Saturday also. And then I know Sunday is the Super Bowl. I'm excited for that.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
I am excited for that.
Yeah, homecoming. I think a lot of people are excited for it because I've been like last week to the basketball game. I'm probably going later again. And on Saturday, since I'm like a SAC member, I will have to like work anyways. And I hope like a lot of people like from the teams and like outside of the teams show up and we'll have a great time.
If it's any sort of incentive, they will be doing a big giveaway. A moped.
That's actually a massive That's actually a massive giveaway. That's cool.
And they'll be giving out shirts and other things, and we will be having some admin in the dunk tank.
Ooh.
So if you want to take your shot at a couple admin or student athletes, it'll be a fun day. What about you? Are you coming to homecoming? Anything?
Yeah, well, my son is a junior at Kamehameha High School, and today they're in the quarterfinals of the high school state championships. So if they win today, they play tomorrow night. If they win tomorrow night, then they play Saturday night in the state final. So hopefully he goes far, and I get to continue to watch him.
With respect to HPU homecoming, hopefully
Correct.
you'll get an opportunity to miss out on the festivities this weekend.
It also gives me a time to recruit all the other players as well.
That's true.
Still working.
How is that recruiting locally here? It seems like you guys do a nice job, outside the islands too. But what's your mindset when you do recruit here in Hawaii with the local guys, especially having the connections that you do have, being here for as long as that? What has that kind of been like, and what's this season like for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because the group that is graduating right now, including like my son who's a junior, that I've been coaching that group since they were 8 years old, and so I know those guys very, very well. And so, luckily we have an incredible group that's graduating right now, and we're getting a handful of those guys. So yeah, very very knowledgeable about the group that's coming out right now.
Gotcha.
So I have one last final big question for you guys. Super Bowl picks and why. I want to know why. We'll start with you, Kelly.
I personally am choosing the Eagles. Number one reason, I need the Chiefs to lose. Okay. Number two reason, Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's been doing some crazy stuff this year, right? So I mean, it would be nice for them to win and go Eagles, go. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I'll be supporting the Eagles too. Yeah, no, the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will win, but I will be supporting the Eagles.
Now, is football a big thing in Germany?
Uh,
American football, right?
American football,
American
sorry.
football, yeah. It's actually getting a big
Yeah.
thing because I mean they started having like some of the games there in Germany. I know a lot of friends who like really like watch it like all the time, even though the time difference and all that stuff. So it's getting bigger for sure, and like people like start playing it like flag football, and yeah, it's cool to see.
What about you, Coach?
Yeah, as a 49er fan, I hope they both lose. But I think just based off the recent memory, I hope the Eagles win.
Fair enough.
I don't have a pick. What about you, Paul?
Me, I'll probably give my official pick tomorrow, but sitting here on the hot seat, gut feeling, I have to agree with Kevin in terms of it feels like the Chiefs will end up winning. It just kind of feels like a team of destiny, three-peat's supposed to happen, yada, yada, yada. It's really just hard to root against the Eagles team, though. I don't love Nick Sirianni, but I do love Saquon Barkley. I really like Jalen Hurts. I really like a lot of their guys, so I think I'll be rooting for the Eagles, but similarly to Kevin, I got a feeling the Chiefs are going to win.
Well, let's transition towards what's been happening in HPU sports this last 2 weeks. Softball went on their first road trip. They opened their season up 4-3 at Concordia Tournament, taking down number 15th nationally ranked Cal State Dominguez Hills and splitting with number 23 ranked San Marcos. Baseball won their 2 opening games, 12-6 and 19-9 versus Drury. They're now facing Greenville University, who is number 8 ranked. That will be exciting for them to kind of see where they're at with that. Women's beach volleyball has their first match against Chaminade this week, Friday at Hunakai Park. That will be at 10 a.m. And again, homecoming, lots of raffle giveaways, HPU basketball versus Fresno Pacific, and baseball will be playing on that day as well against Greenville University, which will be, again, a big challenge for them, but it'll be a great opening. Just kind of see where they're at.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. A lot of really fun HPU athletics on the way, like you mentioned, softball, baseball, fully in season, and of course with homecoming coming up. I got one last question for you guys. I know we're running out of time, but is there one person that you're hoping to see in the dunk tank this weekend? Like, Bailey mentioned there's admin, maybe there'll be some players, some coach. Like, who, and they don't even have to be on the schedule to be in the dunk tank. Is there somebody you guys would want to, take down in the dunk tank?
I think we got to mention our coaches, right? Coach Josh and Coach Fish.
But after yesterday's running, I
Yeah, I mean they ran us hard yesterday, so they definitely got to be in there. I think that's it. What do you think, Kevin?
I actually have to ask, like, what exactly was a dunk test? Sorry,
they sit on a diving board that goes out from under them, and they get dropped into water if somebody hits a target.
Those ones, yeah, for sure the coaches. for sure the coaches.
Well, at least you guys didn't say me for mispronouncing your guys' names during season this year.
That's probably just gonna about wrap us up. Before we get out of here, you guys have anything left to say? Looking forward to the off season, next season, or any fans that might be listening in.
Yeah, I mean, just I know the schedule. I don't know if it's out yet, but it's gonna be coming out. Just come support the games and come say hi. I mean, the more people, the better, right?
And that's a wrap on today's Shark Weekly. Huge thank you to Coach Chris Fisher, Kevin Harr, and Kelly Takara for joining us. Stay tuned for all things HPU athletics, as we'll see you next week. You've been listening to Sharks Weekly on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.